What is up, y'all? It is your favorite Puerto Rican and your favorite Nicaraguan, Angel and
Jay. Just Jay.
just Jay. So we're coming back to y'all with podcast number 2, and we hope to not have any cuts in this video. I'm gonna link our Instagrams and all our art accounts in the bio. There's no point in saying it right now. I'll also put it over our faces, so they will pop up. So first things first. Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Just keep it going, man. Just keep it
All
going.
right, first things first. Some new merchandise is on the way. 3 different shirts, 3 different designs, and they are all $20. Please, if I'm gonna put a picture. If you see the picture and you like what you see, hit me up. I will deliver that John to you. Now, if you do not live in PA or in Philly, I'm gonna have to figure something out. But if you live within a 20-minute radius, I'll take them Johns to your crib, and you will get to see me and Janier live and in person. Secondly, we have a short film coming out. We have a whole entire series planned that will be coming out sometime either in January or early February. So I wanted to give y'all a little bit of background, right? So this is our podcast called Waste Talk. So I know y'all see we on the sofa, and it's just us two. So a little bit of our background. Me and Junior actually planned on making this podcast while at Delaware Park. So one day we were sitting by the river or by the water, and we was just talking about, okay, well, you know, why don't we express ourselves? So we started recording, and all you heard was all this wind in the background, but there was an idea that was planted, and we had a video recorded. This was deleted. Now we're re-recording, but Janier made a really good important point. You know, it was a thing about dedication and just putting in the work, right? I called Janier at around 7. I said, "Yo, bro, you trying to come out at around maybe like 10 so we can record?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem." We're really dedicated right now. We really are in a place where right now our YouTube got, you know, a good amount of little buzz. So our TikTok videos is cool. And I mean, even besides that, all our stuff we've been posting up on Instagram, everybody's been enjoying, which we all appreciate. So we just want to show y'all some of our personalities, and y'all can kind of get to know us while also expressing ourselves artistically. So for today's podcast, Janier actually has a topic. He has 3 topics, right?
I forgot the third one, but I remember the first 2.
All right, I remember all of them, so I'm happy. So we're going to have Janier start off the top, what we're going to be talking about today.
All right, so the first one is, what would be the memory that you would like to relive again? Well, the day that you would like to relive again.
You can go first.
Oh, man, I was hoping you can go first.
All right. First, let me think about a memory I want to relive.
All right, I got it.
Right.
So, before I came to the United States, I had a very, it's small amounts, but I was getting ready to leave, and I had a next door neighbor that I had a crush on. So, this crush, we was at the same age. I was probably like 6, 5. And so, what I would do is I'll be like, in Spanish it's called travesizo. I do too much. So I climbed the gate, I called her name, and she ain't come outside. And I was so sad about that. So the reason why I would like to relive it is because I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. But then the other part is I would like to see my childhood home, just see how it really is. Because I only have just little bits of it. So yeah.
So you want to give yourself a little bit of a background? Because when you talk about childhood home and stuff like that, you know, why don't you let them know, you know, a little bit of where that was at, you know what I'm saying?
So, I'm not from the United States. I'm from Nicaragua. Born, not raised. And, yeah, that's really...
So, I mean, you know, again, like, growing up in Philly, Janier, he was a little bit of a daredevil, you know what I mean, hopping over gates. So it seemed like you want to relive that memory as a way to kind of say, don't do that. And also to experience that whole childhood home and kind of get that memory back in that sense, right?
Yeah, because that was actually the only time, it's going to sound very depressing to you guys, but that was the only time I ever had a home. I'm not saying that what I got now is like this or that. No, it's perfect to me. I love it. I wouldn't want anything else. Of course, later on in the future. But yeah. Yo. All right.
That was sad, but I understand. So let's. I'm gonna take y'all away from that. I think for me, again, there's a lot of little memories that I would want to relive, but one that really was sticking out. All right, so Christmas just passed. I remember when I was a kid, right? And this is the thing. I believed in Santa like nobody. Okay, so like literally, well, I went to Brightside Academy, and while I was there, me and my brother used to always convince the kids that Santa Claus was real. So I was an avid believer. Like I swear, I thought he was real. I ain't stopped believing him until I was like 13 years old. And that's not a lie. That's a fact. Okay. So as a young boy, I would always have these things where it was like, yo, I swear he's real because I stood up till 12 o'clock at night and he wasn't there and no gifts was under the tree. But then the next morning, I had the gifts under the tree and I couldn't find them in the crib, right? That sounds excusable. But there was one dream. There was one memory that I have where I'm sitting in the sofa, right? And again, not these sofas. Obviously, these sofas are, I'm in my 20s now. These sofas are newer, but we didn't have sofas that were connected. So we had sofas that were always split. So I'm sitting in the sofa and I'm on this side of my house, right? And I look at the tree, which is propped over there. I can't see the tree. I know I'm pointing at nothing for y'all, but over there, y'all can kind of assume, right? The tree's over there, and I'm sitting in the sofa. I look at the tree, and nothing is there. And then I look at the tree again, and it was filled with presents. I swear to God, bro. And to this day, I still remember it like that. So my goal is if I can relive that memory, I want to figure out what was I on, because I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was a lie. Maybe I fell asleep on the sofa, but I remember it clear as day. I look back, no gifts. I look back again, and presence was there. And that's what really lit the fire of me believing Santa Claus was real, because that was the main story I said. And everybody believed me because I would swear. And normally when I swear to God, it was the truth. And to me, that was the truth. So I want to relive the memory to make sure that it's real. But I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes they say the memories you had as a kid or certain memories could be dreams. But I mean, since I was a kid, I had that memory, and I remember it as a kid. So I mean, I don't know. I think that was real. And even interestingly enough about memories, they talk about the whole thing of smells are things that kind of help ignite memories quicker than anything else. So there's no smell that would remind me of that day, though. So I really don't know what could really help me with that. But I mean, there was another topic that Janir wanted to talk. I feel like a lot of them are like, the first two at least are more based on kid things. So why don't you bring in the second one?
No, do you want to do one more?
I mean, we can do one more if you want to do one more.
Oh, damn. I'm not depressed. So another one is I was in the 7th grade. Summertime, and I lived in the, like, very, very ghetto area. And so it was so ghetto that you could see like drug addicts from the backyard. And so at that time, my uncle from my country came. He was the only family member that came, and we was outside all night until like 2, 3 in the morning just talking. And I ain't say anything. It was just my mom and my uncle. And so the reason why that memory is so special is because he recently passed away. And so it'll be another nice time to be able to enjoy something like that. I said I'm not depressed, man. It's just something nice, man.
So I'll bring y'all back from that. Let me think about another. Let me think about a happy memory really quickly. Let me introduce y'all to my cat real quick. This is my cat, Comet. He was adopted think like 2 years ago now. He's a blue Russian cat. So if y'all see his tail and y'all want to know about him, this is Comet. He's a very good cat. Everybody kind of loves him. But let me go back to the memories. Damn, there's like a lot of like little memories that sometimes I wish I can go back to. You know, I feel like some of my memories that I want to relive are like things that would happen when I was younger. So when I was a kid, I used to stay over my abuela's house a lot. And one of my favorite memories that I will always remember is just like when we would sleep in the room that she had, and literally I would have to sleep, right? She was always covered. This is so funny. Like, it would be so hot in there because she would always have the heater on blast. And if you have like a Puerto Rican family members, Dominican people do this too. Like, the heater be on 80. So not only was we sleeping in a hot house, right? And this was during the winter, so obviously the heater was on. But then she had the beds covered in plastic. Now, you probably will be wondering, like, why the hell would you want to go back and relive that? It's just because of the fact that they were so, like, joyful. Like, just sleeping in those beds and just arguing with my brother in the middle of the night. We would be cracking up. Then we would be fighting in the bed, arguing. And then at the same time, all I would hear is my grandma's chancleta that she just walked to the room to be like, shut up and go to bed. So even though it was kind of like an annoying thing, I had so many memories of just being in that room and just being forced to sleep on the plastic covered pillows. But it's just being so hilarious and fun to, like, you know, have kind of be like mischievous. Like, you know, you fighting, making dumb jokes. And as soon as she opens that door, my brother's like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And now you got to act like you asleep when she come in the room. And then she starts snapping. So, I mean, you know, those memories like those, they just bring me back to just being in the summer and just being a kid. You know, I feel like me as an adult now, and even like I can't even say adult because I just feel like I'm still like, you know, I just got finished being a teen. You know what I mean? Like 3 years ago, I was just 19. You know what I mean? So, I mean, how, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I'm like in the earlier stages of being an adult. I can admit, I like being an adult more. I like having more freedoms. I mean, when I really think about it, I don't gotta go to school. I don't have to worry about these things. But it's just that hilarious like idea of just like waking your grandma up and then she has to come in the room and you gotta stop yourself from laughing when she come in the door. You gotta be asleep like this. She coming in and you can hear her. You hear her, you gotta be like this. And you hear your brother like breathing mad heavy, trying not to laugh. I feel like that to me is like something that I really like. But again, I like being able to have my own money, leave when I want to, go wherever I want to. But you know, I love those memories like that. But I mean, you know, thinking about that whole idea of being an adult and transitioning from kid to adult, another idea that Janir brought up was, you know, if you could talk to a younger version of yourself and give them any type of advice or information, what would it be? So, I mean, I guess we can kind of take some time to think about that, but you could probably go first.
The reason why I even brought it up was because of, you know, there's a lot of times where you really just wish you was able to speak to yourself and just have it a lot easier. Like, for example, I recently just learned that it's all right to be rude, you know, when you need to. And the reason is that, you know, it's pretty obvious. Sometimes you just gotta put your foot down, you know, let things be. So yeah. What about you, Andrew?
I feel like there would be a lot of different things that I would tell myself. I mean, damn, where do I even start? So firstly, like the whole thing with confidence, right? You know, as a kid, I was always very smart. And I mean that in a sense of I was always intelligent in schools in regards to being book smart. I also, you know, had a couple of friends, but it was like weird. I never had true confidence. And, you know, there was times where girls would like me and, you know, they would always laugh at me. They would always like make jokes with me and always be like, oh my God, you're so funny. But it was so weird, right? Whenever a girl would ask me, do I like her? I never had the confidence to say yes. So despite the fact that she had some sort of attraction to me, And again, I'm not saying middle school girlfriends. I never had middle school girlfriends. I never like really had that type of stuff. But it's like weird because I always felt like, despite the fact that a girl could like me, I was never confident enough to be like, yeah, I want to be with you. I like you. And again, I was a kid, you know, but maybe I was scared of trying to have a relationship that I knew would never last. But I just never had that confidence in myself as a kid. And I was always kind of like very scared. And it really took a lot of time for me to like learn what confidence could kind of do for you, and how it could kind of change you. Like it really wasn't until, brother, dog touching the zone. Can you not, dog? Can you not move? Get.
No, we good.
I was cooking. I was
It
cooking.
was cooking, man.
So I was like, what I was saying. So it really wasn't until high school, you know, I was always like doing things. And you know, another thing about me, and a lot of us, we from Philly, so it's like, you know, it's really not sweet in Philly just in general. Like you go to a school and, you know, I for a majority of my educational career, I was in public school. So my parents, they put me in a school that they could put me in that was around the corner from the crib. So, you know, going to a school like that, you know, you don't have access to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have science classes. I didn't have art classes. I didn't have computer classes. A lot of my stuff was limited. So just in general, like my confidence when it came to what I was doing educationally, like I also didn't take myself serious. Like I felt like, you know, yeah, I got straight A's, but does it really matter? So as soon as I got to high school, as soon as I got to a charter school, I had to prove a point to myself that it's like, no, bro, you're in the position you are because, you know, you do deserve. I didn't have the confidence in myself, despite the fact that I was always overachieving and performing. And I mean, it wasn't until, like I said, high school that I got involved into like this. I don't know how to explain this program. It was more just like a youth program, and I think that's a lot of what kept me out of doing dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have been, again, where I'm from, where we're all from, we all could become products of the environment in which we are raised in. But being able to say like I was in programs like these and kind of push myself is what allowed me. But these programs, you know, seeing how other people outside of the environments I was in be like, yo, you're really like talented, yo, you're really gifted, yo, it really made me feel like, yeah, I can have this confidence and I deserve to be this confident because of the fact that I know that what I'm doing is real. And since then, I mean, I've been able to elevate myself in a lot of things. You know, I was the first man in my family to graduate college, the first person on my dad's side to graduate college. You know, there's a lot of firsts that I'm doing and a lot of things that I'm trying to kind of like tunnel for people behind me to follow. So I mean, I feel like I would just tell myself like, bro, be confident. And I would say establish that confidence at an earlier age because you deserve to be confident and you deserve to enjoy and feel proud of yourself because you are doing good things.
So speaking about that, do you feel like there's a lot of pressure because you're making that path?
I would say, yeah. I would say there's pressure and then there's also like
The pressure for perfection and a perfect path?
it's kind of like weird because it's like pressure, but it's also nonchalantness. Like what I mean by that is essentially like, yeah, there's pressure because you're the first person, but there's also that sense of like, well, if you make a mistake, it's okay because you're the first person to do it. So it's like I don't have like, it's weird for some people to understand this, but I don't have a person I can look to say, you know, how do I do this? Like in a sense of like, okay, well, how do I establish my business? How do I establish, what do I do after college? You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially specifically for the career that I chose, like, so it's like, I have to have that grace with myself to sit here and be like, well, you know, yes, the pressure of being the first to do it, but it's also the thing of being able to understand that, bro, it's okay if you make the mistake because you're the first person to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, I also feel like this pressure, you know, older sibling pressure. You know what I'm saying? Parents going to you for certain things. And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm like, it's not like in the sense of like crazy, but it's again like, you know, your parents look at you in a sense, in the scope of like, you know, you're the oldest, you got to carry this. And for the most part, I do. Everybody who knows me, they always say very respectful young man, and none of that is a lie. Every person I meet, I always treat people the same. But I mean, yeah, that's a good question. It's like it's weird. It's pressure, but it's also just like there's pressure from other people, but to carry that pressure, you have to not put too much pressure on yourself and be like, but it's okay if I make a mistake. I'm the first person doing it. You know what I mean?
So do you think you have a good system for forgiving yourself when you know? Because the way that I'm thinking about it is that there's a tunnel and you're drilling because you know you come from like the bottom and you're trying to make it to the top. And so this tunnel for other people is perfect, has nice lighting, all this and that. This cat is actually one of the best. You can actually, I'm not gonna go right now. I want to give it its time.
You
But
can't grab him right now. He wants you to touch him.
no, but he moved away.
He literally like listen. I don't. Junior cooking right now, but like I can literally like go in and show you his little tusk and everything. He don't care. Like
All right, but that was an exception. But like legit, one of the coolest, calmest cats. So yeah, and there's other people that have a better system and it's so much more nice and easier to be able to get to the top. And so, have you been able to forgive yourself because of not being able to provide a perfect system? And I say this because for me, I'm the younger sibling, and for my older brother, it went sideways. But he's doing things much more different, and he's able to get himself to a much more stable path than what he was going through. So that's why I asked, have you been able to have a good...
yeah, I mean, I feel like, but I think even beyond being where I'm at, I think that everybody who grows up in a city like this, whether you come from, I don't know, like Chicago and all these places that got bad reputations, I think that we get so stuck in this idea of we need to make millions of dollars or this to actually make it. It's like that whole thing. It's like Biggie said in a rap, he's like, either you sling a crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. For some reason, us as a community in this area, we've made it like this thing where it's like, if you're not playing ball or you're not a star athlete or you're not moving work or you're not making bread, selling drugs and all types of stuff, that you haven't made it. And what I'm trying to get at is like, we need to be okay with saying to kids like, bro, it's okay if you work at UPS. It's okay if you want to be a mailman. There you go. Or it's okay if you want to work at a restaurant. And I think once we once we become content with that idea of just working regular jobs, we'll learn to understand what success really is. Because we just learned to understand success as making millions because we come from a certain amount of money and a certain amount of things, and it's just like, what is success really? Like we kind of align to ourselves, and that's why sometimes people in our community get stuck in this thing of like, well, no, I want to make bread like this, I want to make bread like that, and once you don't make bread like that you lose your confidence, then you turn to other things, and I think that we kind of gotta mix our mind up, like, but it's easier said than done, because at the end of the day, like, the same way for me, I can sit here and be like, the reason why I'm not doing dumb stuff is because, again, I grew up, again, y'all not from Philly. Some of y'all are from Philly, some of y'all are not, but like, I grew up around the corner from Kensington. So my pop, every time we drove down, he made it a whole entire statement. I want you to look at everybody. Every time you walk by every time you drive by Zombieland, that you see somebody shooting up heroin, that you see somebody on the corner. Because even if people don't understand this, right? It's the same way, like, you got heroin addicts on the street, you got the people that trap. They don't want to be there either. Like, who wants to really be on Kensington and Allegheny, K&A, selling drugs to fiends? Fiends that come up to you smelling crazy, fiends that got abscess on them, fiends that got needles hanging on their ears. It's the same, you know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. So it's like, you really got to think about it like that. Like, the same way you don't want to be an addict, you also don't want to be stuck having to sell drugs, because at the root of it, you really not gonna make that much bread. And it's a lot of things that you got to think about. You don't get health care. You don't get a tax return. You don't get hourly pay. You don't get sick days. Like it, but we get so blinded by, oh, I seen this boy, he came through, he got 22s on his car, he got bread. Yeah, but again, it's only like it's like the bare minimum. You more likely to be able to do the same thing working at a normal job. But again, we don't have enough people expressing that, nor do we have enough people telling them how to do it. Because you can say that, but then you gotta tell them how to do it. The way I did it was, okay, I went to school, I strived. And I'm not even saying here and say get straight A's. You don't need to get straight A's. You need to graduate high school though. You know what I mean? You need to try to get involved with programs, which we have a lot of programs, which a lot of kids don't really want to do because they kind of laugh them off. But you get into them programs, and those are like ways to kind of branch off. You talk to people. Like we really got to change our personality. It just shouldn't just be. I'm talking about us as men, because again, like I can't speak to the how you say experience of a lady. But me as a dude, I mean, again, it's like things. It's like you either could be an athlete or you can do this. But what's in the middle? And I think what we got to understand is what's in the middle is also just as good as both of them. You know what I'm saying? Because even when we talk about, and we're kind of going on a rant, but even if we talk about the mental health of these freaking athletes and all the stuff that they got to deal with, a lot of them really, even though I feel like it's dumb, because I will, if you tell me $1 million, if you give me $1 million, it's gonna make me happy. But a lot of rich people, they be depressed. So it's like we gotta stop blinding ourselves like this. You know what I'm saying? It's easier said than done, but I'm just saying, like, once we start doing that, we'll start to be able to kind of create certain people who are able to just live functional lives, and we don't gotta rely on doing crazy things to get by. I mean, I kind of forgot the question, but I just went on a rant. But at the end of the day, I mean, that is what it is.
That's the whole point of this podcast at the end of the day, so they can be able to get to understand us better. But
Yeah.
To add on to the part of, like, you can work at UPS and all that. He brought that up because I used to work at UPS. And actually, this shirt is something from UPS, United Parcel, whatever. That's where I started, and I was able to get my first health care. I grew up with no health care at all. And it benefited me so much that I had a rotten tooth, since I like sweets so much, and you guys will get to see that later on in the future. And when I was real young, I didn't like brushing my teeth, nor flossing. So lots of nights of not brushing my teeth and stinky breath. Either way, this year, April 2023, I was able to get the tooth out because it was starting to inflame. It was going to cost me $1,800, and I was making $300 to $250 a week. I was not going to make that money anytime soon. Maybe in like a year, but not anytime soon. So with that, I was able to get that done. If I was married, I would have been able to help out my girl with one of her situations that she had, and that cost would have been way less of a burden for her. And so it just helps. And then that's just for the health wise. I worked from 2 in the morning until 9. From that time, that's the time that I worked. After that, I had all day. What I did with that time was that I was able to get into my health, my hobbies, being able to sharpen it. Then I was able to have more time with my girl. Whenever she would not be able to go to work or study, that's will be the time where we can be able to do our things. While at that job, because of that time that I had, I was able to learn how to change my oil, change my air filter, my cabin filter. So it's just, with that stability, with that one small stability, it can add up little by little. So that's why I liked it too. And if you don't mind that and sucking it up for a little while until you're able to stabilize your life, it's a real good option.
I agree. And I was just thinking about something, right? I'm gonna keep it a video because this is something I really was just thinking about, right? This is my thing, right?
Yo, let's sit back real quick.
Let's say
I'm back, sir.
Let's sit back. I just had to speak to the camera. So let's say, for instance, you live in the hood, right? All right. This is my. I'm gonna just say I have to say this, right? I would rather get shot in the hood working at UPS that I got health care than being a poppy trapper boy and then I get shot and then what? I don't got no health care, bro. But like, what are we really doing, bro? Like, granted, I'm just saying if you're not gonna die, but I'm just saying, think about it. Like, You hear all these crazy news about people getting hit with stray bullets and stuff like this, or you can't even go in your crib. What I'm trying to say is this. Still, probably, get out of Philly, but like, some people can't. Some people have to work and they just have to chill, live in an apartment. I would rather get shot with healthcare than not having healthcare, but people don't think this. And really, you are less likely to get shot working at a place where you can actually get healthcare than if you were to be selling drugs. Point blank period. I mean, again, granted, whatever drugs you selling, whether you selling weed, is different. But now you got fentanyl, you got, again, heroin. Like in Philly, it's a opioid crisis. So you ain't got people like doing crack or cocaine to the same extent as you got people who are shooting things up in their veins and popping painkillers. Because again, it's the same thing. Painkillers is another big thing out here. So it's just like, again, you got to think about things like that. Like, but they don't. It's like you're blinded by the bread. And the same bread you get, you still got to break down with people. You don't get to keep that bread. And then God forbid you take the bread and, you know what I'm saying? It's really pointless trying to live your life on edge. I mean, if anybody can see this and it's somebody that's wants to really know how it is, like, it really is better to just work. And again, you still, like, again, it's so crazy. It's like such a dumb thing. Like, you really have to work the same amount of hours when you selling drugs. Like, you have to wait for people to come up. Unless you got a clientele that you drive into, you really just have to wait. Like, you still, the same amount of time you be working selling drugs, the same amount of time you be working at a normal job. You know what I mean? But again, you gotta get a high school diploma though. You gotta get through high school, because if you don't get through high school, then it's gonna be limited, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. But once you get through high school, I mean, and maybe even get to a trade school, but I'm just saying, like, really think about that through. Like, you gotta work the same amount of hours. You may not even pull in the same amount of bread. You don't have benefits, and you're more likely to get shot. And you're more likely to have to serve time. Like, at a certain point, you just got to be able to sit here and tally mark the pros and the cons. And I mean, if you can really sit there and be like, damn, I want to make bread selling drugs, sit through the pros and the cons and really understand it. Because a lot of people don't do that. They just see it as quick bread. I see this boy, he got a nice car, he got this and that. But then what's his lifespan looking like? You know what I'm saying? How long is he going to last before he either ends up dead or in jail? Because they don't retire. It's not a retirement fund. There's not a retirement plan either. So, I mean, just, if you can hear it from me, you can hear it from everybody. But, again, like, I'm in my 20s. I just got out of my teen years. As somebody who's in my 20s and Janier in his 20s as well, us as people who are working, I mean, it really just is better. It really is just more comfortable. You know what I mean? You don't always got to worry about just dumb things. I mean, it is what it is, bro. But we did have a lot to say about that. I guess on another note, the next question was, if you could take 3 things to a deserted island,
oh my God,
what would it be? So
how you gonna come up from that? I don't think there's nothing else that can beat that, bro. That was a good finish right there.
I guess
3 things.
Let's just do 3 deserted.
Why did you bring that up after the memory, John?
I don't know.
That day to relive.
But we gotta end them off with something a little bit more jolly. So 3 items on a deserted island. I would say I would take my cat, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be selfish. I'm dying, he dying with me. But I think I could probably train him to hunt. Cause I feel like every time I like call his name, he do listen. So I'll train him. You know what I mean? He catch the birds, catch the mice, and we'll just eat them Johns together. I would probably take a boat with me.
You cheating, right?
Can we do fictional things?
All right, fictional things. So you got a boat.
So, all right, I'm gonna say all this right, because this is one of the young boys at my job said this was a really smart idea. So I work in schools. I'm like somewhat of a teacher, more or less. I don't know how to explain it, but I do work. I create curriculums. I do. So I asked the same question. It's like the perfect icebreaker question. And why one of the young boys gonna say Jesus Christ? And I think that is perfect. I'm gonna take my cat, my boat, and Jesus Christ, bro. And I swear Jesus, he'll make it happen. Cause we walking right on the ocean and we leaving that deserted island. And we gonna survive.
The cat was gonna throw away the camera. What I would bring, I've been preparing for a while. Actually, one of the things that I was also able to master was my slingshot. I was able to. And so I also did archery too. And it was like, oh, you got good form, but I think they just
Was lying.
yeah. I'll bring a slingshot, a water purifier, and a pot.
Pot?
Yeah, a pot.
Oh, a pot. Sorry.
Oh, yo.
I was like, hold on,
Yo.
wait a minute. I don't think you want to do. I don't think you want to be inebriated on that deserted island, bro.
So yeah, the pot will help me out with boiling water. To make it safe. Dang, I forgot the second thing. The slingshot will help
You
me
said
out.
pot. Oh, you said the pot slingshot.
Mm-hmm. And I forgot the third thing. Oh, water purifier.
Water purifier.
I don't know, man. I forgot. Dude, I really forgot.
All I know is I feel like Janier gonna die on that island,
I'm not
bro.
gonna die.
I
I've
feel
been
like
prepping.
I kind of got like the cheat code. I mean, Jesus Christ, who gonna beat that?
No, you can't beat that.
But I mean, I guess one to hear. It's pretty long. We got a pretty long podcast, so I guess we'll say bye again. Like as we go, it'll probably be less awkward because this is like the first time we're doing this. Again, we don't know nobody who does something like this, so it's kind of like we just doing it as we go. So again, it was nice talking with y'all. I'm Angel.
Jay, but I prefer Jay. It's easier. But Junior,
And this is
Wastelanders.
no waste talk.
This is
Wait, one. And this is waste
Waste
talk.
Talk.